It's been a year since I started my new 5-prong plan, and I have it up on the screen here. Let's see. The 5-prong plan was get a beater. That was the Evo. Check. Cold plunge every day. Pretty much check. Full carnivore eating plan. I'll explain that in a minute. Build a supplement protocol, lose weight, get insanely healthy. I feel like I'm about 70% of the way there. Work out hard at least 5 days a week and do something regular and active. The other two, pretty much check. So my goals for the last year, my plan for the last year have been pretty good. I'm going to go through all the details of what I've been supplementing with. I get lots and lots of emails every week. I think I've probably sent it to about 1,000 people over the last year. I'm happy to send it to you as well. I'm going to go through it on screen. If you'd like, shoot me an email, matt@obsessedgarage.com. I like to email it to you. It feels more personal to me than just posting it up somewhere. So if you go through the process of shooting me an email and I send it back to you, I just feel like it's a better relationship thing than me just posting it up somewhere. So what I'm going to do today in today's video, go through the protocol, go through the changes. You've seen me, I don't know if I'd call it transform, but you've seen me change. If you've been watching me for a long time, I've gotten as high as 252 at my peak. When I weighed in last August when I started this, I was 248.6. And I can tell you this morning, 5 minutes ago, I just got on the scale. I was 219.1. So roughly 30-pound weight loss. I think I probably transitioned quite a bit of muscle. One thing I haven't been tracking, which I'm going to track this year, is my body fat percentage instead of just raw weight, because I think that matters more. So I'm going to go through what I started with, what I've adjusted, what I've changed. We're going to make some adjustments to my protocol here, and then take you through all the different supplementation when I think about it and what I'm planning to do going forward. So I hope you'll enjoy this video. I hope it's helpful. I know lots of you have reached out to me from last year's video. I think I did like a 3-month update on the progress, and lots of people sent me lots of emails. So I have some more, I guess some testing, some real life empirical data or subjective data. Really, it's my subjectiveness on some of these topics. The one thing I would love to do this year is to get the courage to do blood work. I'll explain that as well. So let's dive into it. I'm going to share my screen here and kind of walk you through some of the things that I think you might find interesting and some of the things I've gone through. Here's the plan. This is what I call the 5-prong plan. And so the beater car, I've put about 5,000 miles this year on the car. So to remind you, for those of you who are new here, appreciate you being here. I suffer from obsessive compulsive disorder, and that obsessive compulsive disorder manifests in massive amounts of worry and angst and fear, and that angst will turn into a fight or flight moment, and then I have a vasovagal syncope event, syncope, S-Y-N-C-O-P-E, syncope event where I pass out. Now, I've probably only passed out about a dozen times in my entire life. It started in 6th grade. I went to visit my grandmother in the hospital. She just had a knee replacement. She was puking in one of those little cups. I'm like, man, I feel funny. I need to get out of here. I started sprinting. While I'm sprinting, I pass out mid-sprint, run straight into the wall. I wake up on a stretcher, and that changed my life forever. I don't know if I was destined for this fight or flight thing, but I've had periods of my life where it's come and gone. In 2014, I had an event where Michelle had our second child. I passed out in the emergency or in the delivery room, and a week later, we were doing family photos. I took my son to Toys R Us while they were doing the mom and baby photos. And I was scrolling through Facebook, saw a friend of mine had some sort of stomach surgery, and the Black Death came over me. Now, I didn't pass out, but what happened at that moment is I was introduced to what anxiety is. I never had anxiety. What I would have is a subconscious vasovagal event. So prior to 2014, I was 34 years old. I was about 205 pounds. I was deep and pretty competitive in CrossFit. And I went and had this introduction into my life that, oh my gosh, this fight or flight mechanism could happen anywhere, anytime, and not just be isolated to the doctor or dentist's office. So I was in a month and a half or 2 month long endless panic loop where I had to go, in the first time in my life, humble myself, stop thinking I could just reason my way out of things. I met with a psychiatrist. They put me on Prozac, and then met with a psychologist, and that's when this YouTube channel was born. After about 3 months of therapy, or maybe only, actually I think, if I recall, only about a month of therapy, we had come to the conclusion I needed to make some friends, and so I started making videos like this and changed my life forever. So throughout the last several years, I've had several different bouts. So 2014, I couldn't drive for about 6 months, couldn't really eat very much, couldn't function. But the Prozac, I feel like, changed me physiologically forever. I gained about 50 pounds, so I went up to 250, hit 250 for the first time in my life. I was still working out, just not as dedicated. I also, when you get in your mid-30s, your metabolism slows down, so all I wanted to do was eat and sleep, being on Prozac. After about 2 years, I was able to mitigate or get off of the Prozac. And what I did was I just kind of swept. I avoided the doctor, avoided the dentist, avoided the discussion. I was able to drive, was able to function, wasn't healthy, wasn't fit like I would like to be. I became the person I would have made fun of in my early 30s or 20s, that fat slob. Just stop eating, bro. Just stop eating. Just work it off. And so I would go on these fads and do all these crazy diets, and I'd never been able to conquer it. So I would just avoid the doctor, avoid the dentist. To complete the story here, I'm going to bore you to death, but in 2019, I had not been to the dentist in several years, and I had my wife say, look, just ambush me. Just show up one day, pick me up, and take me to the dentist. And so she did that. I went, immediately got wound up, went to the dentist, had my worst fear happen, which was that my front tooth was dead. I guess I'd taken an impact when I was a kid, had no sign of it, and so I needed to get an implant. And so then that was my next round of can't function, can't eat, can't sleep, can't drive. And this time around, I decided to get some real help. I had gotten on a different medication. We'll talk about that as we go through this list. And I had made this life decision that I'm going to stop trying to sweep it under the rug. I'm going to attempt to fix myself. So I committed to weekly, sometimes bi-weekly talk therapy. I found a psychologist, a psychiatrist who was very astute, Dr. Baxley was very much so an advocate of trying to find the root cause of the issue. I don't have some PTSD or traumatic event other than that, event in 6th grade. We think maybe I was held down when I was a kid. I remember, maybe I make this memory up, but I got, needle stuck in, or given like tetanus shot or something, and I freaked out and ripped it in my arm. I'm not sure where my white coat syndrome comes from, but the obsessiveness is very clear. It's hereditary. My grandmother, my sister, my mother all suffer from these same bouts of fight or flight, this same sort of angst, this anxiety. I'm the only one that has the vasovagal event where I get so wound up that I literally exit my body. My blood leaves my head and extremities to go to protect the vital organs. I pass out. Once I get horizontal on the ground, I wake up, but it's a traumatic event. And so what I've developed is an obsession of this fear of the fear. By the way, a year or two years ago, I wouldn't be able to talk to you about this. I'd be sweating and melting down. I feel confident, calm, and I feel like I'm on the mend to figure out my life and figure out how to fix this problem, how to fix this issue with me and mentally. And so something finally clicked last year where I said, look, I've tried all this stuff. So been doing talk therapy, really understand who I am, developing a leadership team in my business, learning how to manage that or how to migrate around that. learning how to build a life that is more manageable and less need, less stress, less worry. And so it's taken a lot of time to figure out who I am. I'm now 44 years old, so I'm 10 years into this life-changing process of building a business, learning who I am, learning how to include others in my life, and then hopefully learning how to drive properly again. So in 2019, I had just been sued and fired from my wealth management practice for making videos like this. And so it all culminated with the loss of my front tooth. So I haven't been able to drive much since 2019, 2020. Surprisingly, the pandemic didn't affect me at all. And so I didn't have the anxiety that a lot of people had from that. I don't really have a fear of getting sick. I don't necessarily have a fear of dying. I'm not sure what the fear is. The fear has become a fear of the fear, which is a death spiral into a nothingness that really is a bothersome thing. And so what happens, just to complete the story, I get in the car. It's sort of the isolated thing, the isolated event. The doctor winds me up. The dentist, I'm doing okay. The car winds me up. I get in the car and I start over obsessing. I start thinking about disrealities, if that's a word. I start thinking about the possibility of passing out and what that could be like. So imagine, you're flying down a road or you drive off a cliff because you pass out. And so because of that fear of passing out, it's never happened, but that fear of passing out makes me obsess over it. Actually, stoplights are worse because then people get in front of me and behind me, and I just start freaking out. Doesn't help that I'm driving cars that everybody can see me in and that are pretty loud and garner a lot of attention. But that's why I bought the Evo. I want to have a car that I enjoy and will enjoy the experience. I've tried driving a beater. I bought a Tesla with autopilot. That didn't help. So the root cause or the click that happened this past year was, well, shoot. I've been saying I would do anything to fix this. I just want to take my GT3 into the mountains and the mountain house that I now own and just enjoy it. And it's right there. I've got the house and the road is right there, but I can't touch it. Just imagine, put yourself in my shoes. My business and life is built around the car and the garage, and I can't even frickin' drive. So the click last year was, Matt, you've been saying you would pay anything, do anything, give up anything to be able to fix this. But I haven't done the one thing that might be the solve, and that's to get chemically and physically healthy again. And that could certainly aid in this transition to get back to normal, to get back to a normal life. So I'm doing all these things. I'm committed. Sorry about that. I'm committed to therapy. I've committed to coaching in business. I've committed to offloading a lot of the stress and responsibility. I've committed to everything except, what if I got healthy? What if I got physically fit again? And what if I focused on that? Then there's nothing left. So here's what I decided to do. Get a beater car. That's helped. This time last year when I made this video, or when I started this process, I made the video at 3 months. I couldn't drive anywhere but occasionally to my garage a few miles down the street, or then the one road in front of my house. I can now drive to the gym every day a certain way. I can drive to my building. I would say I've made a 10x improvement on the way to 100. Right, so I still have 90% of the way to go, but I think the curve toward 100 would be very exponential over the course of the next year. I'm hoping get me in the mountains and be able to drive wherever I want to drive and go wherever I want to go. Cold plunge. So I bought a Renew Therapy cold plunge. I'll show you that here. I would not recommend it. So I bought this cold plunge. They have a new 3.0, which maybe solves some of the issues. And it looks like possibly it solves the issues. So I have a Cold Stoic 2.0. I believe it was another, I think it was another $1,000 at the time. And so the problem with mine is that the exterior of it has faded and this whole thing has all rusted. So I may call them, it looks like they've adjusted the design here to plastic. Maybe there's something that I could do to improve that or to fix that. So it appears that they have a new 3.0. If I could buy one again, and I'm likely going to buy one for the Middleton house, they say that this is indoor-outdoor. By the way, this is plastic. I think what I would do is I would highly suggest you get the new plunge. This is what I'm going to buy for the Middleton house down in about 20 miles from here. So I'm going to buy the new plunge, would be my recommendation. So we go cold plunge, the all-in is what I would buy. $84.90. You don't need the heater section. They now have everything included. The previous, when I bought my Renew a year ago, it had a big giant box on the side. Well, now it's all included in a nice, pretty looking tub. So I would buy the cover for it, and I wouldn't add the heater. So that would be my suggestion on the cold plunge. The Renew therapy is not something I'd suggest. Full carnivore eating plan, which I did very well off and on throughout the year. I would say I did about 5 months. Let's see. August, September, October, November. Right around December, January, I started to have a few little cheats. And when I was at the Adam LZ project, so I was on location for 3 months, just uncomfortable, not an ideal situation, remodeling a home. I was living in an RV. And so I would say 5 months of solid workout 7 days a week, eat in ketosis, pure carnivore with maybe a little bit of cheese and dairy. And then say the last 6 months or so, I've had a little off and on of on and off the eating plan. But we'll talk about that in a second. Build a supplement protocol. So I'm going to go through that. So I've lost about 30 pounds. I did see 210.9 at the low, and the high I've seen in the last year was 224 and change. That was just a few weeks ago. So right now I'm 219.1. I've gotten refocused. I'm about 2 weeks into refocused. I'm just now becoming fat adapted. And so my focus will continue to be on to stay. And I've been reinvigorated, which I'll explain in a second, on what I think my future looks like with this plan. And then, so the workouts have been great. I fell off a bit on the NMLZ project. I actually bought a bunch of weights, took them with me, did it religiously. It started out week 1, 7 days, week 2, 6 days, week 3, 6 days. The next month, 5 days, got down to 2 days, and then the last few weeks was nothing, and so just because we were working our butts off there. So my workout plan has been simple, and I'm actually going to adjust this for you here, simplify this a bit. So Saturday or Sunday, I usually do a 20+ mile ride. What my ideal schedule looks like is Saturday is CrossFit, and then Sunday is my ride. What I have not been doing, and I'm going to eliminate this here, I'm going to eliminate the extra run ruck. I find it to be unnecessary. I tend to get enough work in on my normal typical CrossFit workout, so I don't feel the need to add any additional work. I feel like I get plenty of work in. And so what I'd like to do is, Saturday, Sunday be either a mountain bike ride, a CrossFit workout in the morning on a Saturday, and then Sunday would either be a ruck or a Santos ride. So we will Control C this. And so this is my adjustment to my plan, is that I don't feel the need to add to this. If I'm feeling beat up, I will oftentimes take a Tuesday, Wednesday, or Thursday. Sometimes I'll take a rest day, but generally speaking, I can do this 7 days a week pretty easily, in control and experience, some positive output from it. So my eating plan was, week 2 was keto light, week 3. So week 1 was the, let's say like keto 25%. Week 2 was keto light. Week 3 was keto full, and then week 4 until today was carnivore only. Carnivore with eggs and some dairy until I get to 220, and then my plan was carnivore with fruit down to 210. So I'm going to adjust this going forward. So my new plan is, since this is the start of a new year, week 1 for me is carnivore 100%. So we'll call it 100% carnivore, which I am 2 weeks into. When I got back from Helen, I'm 2 weeks into, and I'm almost fat adapted. Then I'm going to stay 100% carnivore for, we'll say this is for month 1. So I'm going to stay 100% carnivore, meaning no dairy, no cheese for the next month. So the month of August, that's this month. And then my plan is, I'm just making this up with you right now, month 2 plus is to go the carnivore with eggs and dairy. Let's Control X this until I get to 200 pounds. Then I'm going to Control X. After 200 for sustainable lifestyle, that's when I'm going to add carnivore with fruit for the future. So this is my plan this year. And ultimately, I'd like to settle in at around 205 to 210. So I'll probably just touch 200 pounds, see how that feels. But 205 to 210 is my target weight, which is, right now about 15 pounds off of where I'm at. So 10 to 15 pounds off of where I'm at, which is the hardest to fight off. And so if I do that, I feel like I'll be in a good position. So I'd written down, and this is the thing I've sent to many of you. So I'd written down supplementation. In order to learn what feels right, I need to give each added supplement a week to see how I'm doing with it. This is going to take 3 months or so of blood tests, which I didn't do, trial and error, and testing different combinations. I suspect focus-related supplements will not work for me, as it may induce anxiety. So the first thing I would suggest you do is go watch this video from Andrew Huberman. And he takes you through all the different supplements of all the different things he might suggest, and explains what each one of them is. I'll tell you what I know about them as we work through these. And so I used this video combined with, again, I did some genetic testing to see what my results might look like. And let me see if I can find that. So I had said, I suspect there's some focus-related supplements that Huberman had in this that he'd suggested maybe, or that he had suggested I did not take because I thought it would induce anxiety. So what I had done, now I simplified this, but what I had done is I picked a few supplements and I started taking them, and then I waited. It took them for a week or 2, and then figured out how does that affect me. I stopped taking those, and I take 2 or 3 other ones, and I kind of worked my way into to see what worked for me, what supplement seemed to be that added positive results and not negative results. And so that was something that was important for me to figure out. Now, I had taken several years ago, back in 2020, when I got with my current psychiatrist, we had done a genetic test. I didn't know what all the results meant in the test, but that genetic testing, it was showed that I did not metabolize or could not metabolize folic. I needed a methylated folate supplement, folate is something that is bioavailable. Folic acid is not. And so I actually later learned that folic acid, which is in enriched anything, enriched, bleached, they call it many different things, enhanced white flour, white rice, and so it can be very problematic for somebody who has what's called an MTFHR break. So that genetic testing, I actually had started taking methylfolate, which is this stuff here. So I had started taking methylfolate from a company called Deplin many years ago to help supplement for this deficiency, and I've learned more about it, going forward here. So that's where I found Gary Brecka, and so if you consume Gary Brecka's content on the Ultimate Human podcast, one of the best videos that really explained what I was experiencing is some of his first stuff, which had to do with methylation. Let's see. Methylation. If you watch this video here, it's 286,000 views. Methylation and learning about methylation really helped. I had another gentleman send me an email saying, look, I'm telling you, I've experienced this. The issue you're having, a lot of the issues are tied to the poisoning you're getting from folic acid. Get folic acid out of your diet. So any enriched white flour, white rice. If you are going to have flour, then do organic or buy imported pasta from Italy or somewhere else. So I'm sorry, I didn't plan for this video to be so long, but it's a lot. There's a lot that has gone into this in the last year or so. So for those of you who are looking to be entertained, that don't have these problems that some of us do, I feel like if I go through all this detail, it'll be better for all of us long term. It'll be better for those people who are suffering from similar things that I'm suffering from. So Gary Brecka, by the way, I did actually hire Gary. I paid him $10,000 to meet for an hour. I wouldn't recommend it. Again, remember, I was in the space where I will do anything to solve this, and watching all his videos, he had me convinced. I took their genetic test. I didn't do the blood test yet, so I was hoping to meet with him, and you don't have to pay to talk to him. I wanted to talk to him, and so I paid the money. He told me all the things that were already in his videos, and then I had a follow-up plan. And I think they've gotten so big and gotten so much interest from the Joe Rogan experience and having made lots and lots of videos on their new channel. And so I just couldn't get them to follow up. I followed up probably 15 times I needed to get a prescription for neuromedulla complex. He was going to change my supplementation plan. So I may reach out to their clinicians again. I tried at least a dozen times. So I paid the money, tried to follow up, and we didn't get very far. But before that meeting, that's where I did their genetic test. And so if you go to the 10xhealth.com, you can order the gene results for like $600. So this is something that helps me figure out what's what. And so I have a gene break from one of my parents, the MTHFR break, which means I cannot process folic acid. My MTR gene is okay. MTRR is also a 50% break, and then COMT is another one. So one thing to avoid on COMT is to avoid anything with quercetin, 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 to avoid that because it can make you restless and anxious and problematic. So this gene break here, according to Gary Brecka and according to other research I've done, means that if I'm going to take a multivitamin, I need a methylated version. I also cannot process most of the antidepressants that are available. So I'm unable to process that. So you can order that, figure out what your gene breaks are. You can work with the 10X team. I didn't have very good success with it. Maybe you'll have better success with it. Maybe they'll see this video and reach out and actually execute. It was really frustrating. I paid a lot of money and I just gave up. So then my other plan, I'm going to do this year, is to deal with Supplementation Health. So I have these here. You have to prick your finger and put the blood on a panel and then send it into them. It's not as good as a full blood work, but it's like 99% or 98% accurate. And so what I would like to do is start messing with the supplementation, adjusting supplementation, see what my blood work looks like. I'm fairly certain it's going to be great, but the blood draw gets me all wound up. And so because I've made some significant strides, my goal this year is to be able to go and have somebody come and draw the blood and send it in and get the results. And do that, quarterly to see where I'm at. Really become ultimate. So let's dig into the routine. And so before workout, I will do, and I bought one of these things. I think this thing's pretty cool. I don't know how much I buy into this hydrogen water business, but what I do is I buy a Mountain Valley in a 5-gallon pitcher, and then I have like a water machine, and I fill up this thing, and it creates hydrogen in the water. By the way, I paid $1,200 for it. Now they're $700, and they have them available. You don't want to buy just any old hydrogen generator. A lot of them will actually introduce the chlorine from the salt in your water as it breaks it down. As the electrodes create electrolysis, it will actually break down the NaCl, sodium chloride that's in the water, and you'll end up with if it doesn't vent out the bottom, you can end up with chlorine in your water, which is not what you're looking for. That's not good. So I would suggest buying one of these. I don't know that you'll see much of a difference, but there are some clinical studies that show that hydrogenated water does have some advantage in your gut. Then Mountain Valley spring water. So I'm buying this. So I buy it in this form. So I'm buying in the case form, and then I'm buying it in case form of the 750 milliliter bottles as well. So I'm getting the sparkling version. So I like buying sparkling and the regular still water. And so the way to do that is you go to Mountain Valley and you go to the delivery page, and you go to the get home delivery section. You type in your zip code, and then it will take you to your local distributor. And I'll show you, let me see if I can log in here. So mine is Primo Water, is my distributor. So what I'm ordering is the 5-gallon glass bottles. I'm ordering the oftentimes the 0.33 liter 24 count of sparkling water. I'm ordering, they also have it in peach, and they oftentimes through the distributors don't have all the flavors because they reserve them for for the grocery stores. So on average, I'm getting bi-weekly, I'm getting one of each of these, and I'm getting a 5-gallon depending on how much I need, so they'll refill it. So I'm spending, $125, so maybe a couple $100 a month on proper water, both sparkling and still, and I'm using that water to either take supplements with, or just drink in general. My kids like it as well, so the whole family's on track with that. So then another thing you'll want to do is to get Perfect Aminos. This is the Perfect Amino stuff that I have. So I have and I buy the Perfect Amino with electrolytes, which probably breaks your morning fast. So if you're a big fasting person, you probably don't want to use this one. You want to get just the regular Perfect Amino. And then I also have, which for when I'm traveling, you take 5 capsules. So I have that as well. So I'm going to the rag company for a month or so, a week or so. And so you would want to get your Perfect Aminos. So they have 2 different versions. I like the one with electrolytes. I buy this as needed. I had it set up where I was having them deliver it via subscription, but you don't take this every single day. I like to take it about 30 minutes before I work out. The other thing that Gary Breck has suggested was Baja Gold. I'll need to put the fresh links in here. So Baja Gold Salt Co. And I would suggest you buy the grinder refill, which looks like it's out of stock, and then get the natural grain
And I don't buy in a 5-pound bag because I don't use that much of it. I buy in a 1-pound bag. So the fine grind is, and by the way, you can't use this salt for everything. It's very like wet feeling, very, you'll know when you get it and you'll see what I'm talking about. So I only put it like, I don't put it on like my steaks before cooking them. I would only put it on when, like after, and I use it on my eggs and stuff like that. So Baja Gold mineral salt, get the natural grain, and I'll put this link in the document as well, and get the grinder, the adjustable grinder refill, which I put in my salt grinder, my Weberworks salt grinder. So Baja Gold. Now, one thing I am eliminating, I hate this, athletic greens. I find it to be useless, and I am no longer interested in it. The other thing I am not taking is protein powder as well. I feel like this really hurt my potential weight loss, so I've eliminated the protein powder, and I just stick with protein, real protein. Right, and so that's something that I think you might want to consider. I don't need any protein supplementation. I found that my muscle growth or whatever has been fine, and so I'm eliminating that from the supplementation plan for the Go this coming year. I find it to be gross. I never wanted to take it. Skipping it all the time. I find it to be unnecessary. So my cold plunge, I've settled on, so my cold plunging every day is at 45 degrees, 44 degrees. And so I find that to be the most beneficial. It's painful, it's difficult. When I go to 40 degrees, it kind of hurts my toes and fingers. And so I stay at 44 degrees and I do that 3 minutes every day. I've also found that what works best for me is post workout. Despite there is some data that shows that if you're cold plunging every day post workout, you're hurting your ability for muscle growth, because essentially what you're doing is you're tearing your muscles down, and then you're breaking your muscles down, and then you're rebuilding, and so you're getting rid of some of that inflammation by cold plunging afterwards. So as soon as I get home, so it's usually about 30 minutes after working out, I come home, I get direct in the cold plunge. I find it easier to do it then. It's nice in the summer when it's hot outside, so I can sit in the sun for a few minutes as well. So in a perfect world, post-workout at 44 degrees, and that seems to work the best for me. I'd gone down, I've done it at higher temp and did it at lower temp. You're not going to be able to start at 40 degrees. Yeah, I guess you could if you've got some, if you've got a lot of intestinal fortitude, but I'm not doing that. So 44 works perfect for me. I'm getting rid of glutamine because that was in my protein shake. I don't find that necessary, and so here's the supplementation that I'm doing. So how I have it set up to order. So I've simplified this a bit, but it's still pretty complex. So I have a morning regimen and an evening regimen. So in the morning, I take zinc from Momentous, and zinc I am having delivered, let's see, the zinc comes every 3 months. And so I used to get it every 2 months, but I started to get too much of it, and so for whatever reason, every 3 months seems to work best. This one I think I'm going to eliminate, Fedoja agrestis. This is a hormone support or testosterone booster, I guess. I think I'm going to eliminate this because Momentous stopped making it, it seems. So we'll see. I still left it on my schedule. It comes every 2 months, but I'm not sure that I need that. My neurobiologics, vitamin B, coming every 2 months. So then Pronged is another hormone booster. I feel like both of these, I don't know. I've tried it with and without them. I feel like I can notice a difference. Again, I would like to do some blood testing to see how that works. So as I was saying, the Fedoja and the Pronged, and I guess you can see on the screen when to order this stuff. Alpha GPC,
So alpha GPC is, they call it a cognitive and muscle function support. What did I write down? Alpha GPC. It's vital for healthy functioning of neurotransmitters involved in memory, attention, and muscle contraction. Doesn't seem to hurt, so I'm going to continue to use that. The supplements that are most important, I think, for this, so I think these 4 are optional. These other 3 are not. So for me, with my problems and my brain problems, this is Methyl Life. You want methylcobalamin is the main version of B12. This from Methyl Life is not as good as the Neurobiologics version. They were out for a long time, and so I have quite a bit in here. This is a chewable vitamin, and so I needed the methylated version because my MTFHR break. Neurobiologics I found to be, maybe you can suggest something better, but D3K2. So this is my vitamin D, and it's 10,000 IUs. And so there is a little bit of zinc in here as well, and boron, but this is what I found to be the best vitamin D. And then a methylated multivitamin. So I take 2 of these when I wake up with this, with this, and then I head to the gym. And then the other 2 I'll take at breakfast. If you take all 4, you're probably peeing almost all of it out. So these are a chewable multivitamin, and it's methylated from Methyl Life. And then this is Carlson's, is I believe to be the best omega-3. This omega 2000 is usually really hard to get, so I have this delivered every 4 months, and sometimes it's out of stock, and so usually it gets here in time. But I take 2 of these capsules a day. So that's my morning regimen. I, again, will supplement with the pills if I'm traveling, just so I don't have to take the powder with me. Then my evening regimen, so my OCD medication, there are only 5 medications that I can metabolize. One of them being this one, which is called fluvoxamine, Fluvoxamine. And these are 25 milligram tablets. Now, a normal prescribed dose is something like 150 milligrams or up to, I think, 300 milligrams. I take 37.5 milligrams. I find that this helps. I would like to come off of this long term. Fluvoxamine actually has shown that it's a pretty great anti-inflammatory. And there was some basic research that had shown that there were several mental institutions that had psychiatric facilities where people were taking fluvoxamine, and there was some good results with the first variant of COVID because of its anti-inflammatory capabilities. But what I do is I have a paint cutter. I find this to be the best pill cutter because they don't make a 12.5 milligram version. So I take 1 pill and I cut the other one in half to get my 37.5 milligrams. I take that at night before I go to bed. Then theanine. Theanine will make you have really vivid dreams until you kind of get adapted to it. But I find this helps me sleep a lot. I really do well. I don't have a problem sleeping. I usually get 8.5, 9 hours of sleep a night. And so sleep for me is generally not a problem. Deplin is the methylfolate supplement that I take. This is a prescribed version. You can get it from Methyl Life or Neurobiologics as well. But what you want is 15 milligrams of folate, not folic acid. So folate is, I think, a major contributor to me getting mentally accurate or not crazy. L-carnitine. Carnitine is just a metabolism support. I take that at night. Inositol helps with sleep and relaxation. Apigenin, another cognitive support supplement, and then magnetin, which is magnesium threonate. I take 3 of those every night. And so that's the supplementation plan.
And so you can see it on my sheet here. I updated all of my orders. And so this Oleagen I tried for a little while, which was an olive oil supplement based on a follower sent it to me. I actually bought some more of it, but I didn't find any difference, so I've eliminated that. I've updated all of these, and then most of the supplements I'm buying are from Momentous. And so I have it set up where the Momentous, I have a subscription set up And so if you go to subscriptions, and you can see kind of how it comes to me regularly. So I have a subscription to 4 different places: Carlson, Momentous, Neurobiologics, and Methylife. Those are the 4 companies that I have a subscription to. The Body Health, the Perfect Aminos, this I order as needed. And then the Deplin comes via prescription via my psychiatrist. Same thing with my fluvoxamine. So this is what it looks like, and shows, this is my next order when it's coming in, and then you can use my order recommendation of how to set it up every 2 months, every 3 months, for the supplementation plan. So I think we've covered pretty much everything here. Other things I'd like to do this year: mouth taping. I'm a big time mouth breather. So I'd like to start taping my mouth at night, and then maybe transition to maybe even taping when I go mountain biking, to sort of retrain myself how to breathe out of my nose. I think there's some possible benefits to that. Sauna, I would like to buy sauna, and I'm planning to buy the plunge sauna is what I would like to do. I think the new plunge sauna looks pretty awesome. So I don't want to spend the money, but I would and do the work to get it powered. I have a spot for it, so I'm going to do this sauna here is my plan. It's $11,000. There's the XL version, which I may do the XL version so you can do air squats and stuff in there as well. So those are the future things that I plan to do to improve my health. So that's what I've done. Last thing I will mention, the primary food that I'm eating for the next month is Snake River Farms. So this is where I buy my steak. It's expensive, but you end up, I think, in a much better place, and especially if you're only eating a couple times a day. So what I buy here, and I bought pretty much everything they make. I don't like fillets. Fillets are for girls. It's just, I don't like fillet. So what I am generally buying is ribeye. And so they have a few different versions of ribeye. So they have USDA choice in 1 inch or 1.5. The 1.5 ends up being like a 20 plus, they say 16 ounce, but it usually ends up being 20 ounces. So I'll split my combination here. Like tonight, I'm going to eat a 1 inch because I had breakfast. So generally what I'll do is if I eat eggs in the morning, then I'll eat a 1 inch at night. If I've only eating once a day, then I'll eat the 1.5 inch. I actually like Choice better than their Prime. The Prime is quite a bit more expensive, and this is not cheap. I get that. Once you get on their mailing list, you start getting all kinds of, they send you all kinds of stuff, which is great. Their ribeyes from the Double R Ranch side are great. The New York strips are pretty good too if you like strip better, but I prefer the ribeye, especially if you're going to be on a carnivore heavy diet. That's really all this other stuff. I just haven't had great success with. The Delmonico's new. Delmonico might be something I'll try as well. I tend to like Delmonico. Porterhouses are okay. Their Cowboys are okay. I have a couple of Cowboys. Actually, their Cowboys are great. But my favorite cut of a steak is a ribeye. The other thing that I will sprinkle in, usually when I order, is I'll order a few Wagyus. So American Wagyu from them is, and I usually order the black. The gold is cool, but that's $100 steak. The SRF black and 1 inch or 1.5. I always prefer a 1.5. So sometimes I'll run these on sale, or I'll buy 2 of them as a treat. The Wagyu is, especially if you go 1.5, you're probably not going to eat the whole thing because it's quite a bit richer. So those are the main thing I'm buying. The other thing that's actually really good from them that I do buy quite a bit is their spare ribs that are already smoked, and all you have to do is just throw them on the grill, put a little barbecue sauce on them. They're actually pretty good. So those are the main things I'm buying. I don't like dry aged meat, so I don't buy any dry aged stuff. I'm not a pork guy, and I don't really eat a lot of chicken. So I'm primarily eating eggs. Let's see here if we go to Instacart. So here's a look at what I normally buy from Publix. Sometimes if I'm doing, if I am going to cheat, this is how I'm going to do it with anise, right? Which I'm not cheating for the next month. I do buy truff a lot, so I'll do truff, which is an olive oil based sauce or hot sauce. Close this. And sometimes I will buy some cold cuts, which is not ideal, or some cheese, some shredded cheese. So you can see primarily organic if I can. These are my favorite eggs. I don't even know if these are organic, but they have really awesome deep dark yellow oaks. I hope they're not feeding them like pepper or something. But I feel like they taste the best. Grade A eggs. Maybe somebody can cue me in here. And I usually eat, 6 of them at a time. So these are not cheap. If I am drinking milk, somebody snuck that in there. That wasn't for me. This is another cheat sometimes that I will get. I stopped drinking all this stuff because of the flavor, the unnatural flavors. But if I'm going to, so this is the kid stuff here. This is another cheat for me, blue almond. And I'll sometimes buy cheese. I buy lots of Kerrygold butter. So I just wanted to show you the eggs, what I'm doing. And then if I'm going to drink milk, this is the milk that I'm drinking. I find it to be fantastic. But these don't have folic acid in it. It's organic. There's no enriched white flour. And then if I'm going to buy cheese, generally I'm going to buy some sort of organic version of it. So that's what I've been doing. I feel like I'm doing okay. I'm kind of not as chubby. I'm about 13%, 14% body fat. Obviously I don't carry body fat here or here or here or in my calves or my thighs. I carry it all in midsection or right here. So if I lose another 10, 15 pounds, I'll lose this kind of slop here, which would be nice. But I don't carry weight in my arms or legs, which kind of stinks. I wish I could redistribute it and then I'd feel good at 13%. I don't know that, actually, at least that's what the body scan says. You know what? I haven't checked in a little while. So that is one thing I'm going to do, and I'm going to update my list here. I'm going to focus more on body fat percentage rather than raw weight, but I do want to hit that 200 pounds and see what it's like. Am I weak? Am I still strong? Am I fitter? Am I faster? Do I feel better? And let's see if I can get there, just for the focus of it. And will it help? The main purpose of this, will it help the mental focus? So I hope that's helpful. I hope it wasn't 3 hours long. Looks like we're quite a few hours, well over an hour into this. But I hope that's useful to you. And even if it's just confirmation that you're doing something similar or maybe something better, the carnivore lifestyle works really well for me. I'm convinced that we're genetically predisposed to like certain foods, health foods, quality foods. I like olives. I like meat. I like dairy. I do like chicken if prepared well. I'm just not very good at preparing it. I do not like broccoli. I do not like lettuce. I do not like kale. I do not like green things. It tastes terrible to me. So I'm convinced that there's got to be some reason for that. Now, the drugs, the sugar, which is basically a drug for me, the sugar stuff is, that's not real. So of course you're going to be inclined to want to eat that. But my body does appreciate grains. And so the question is, does some grain and some fruit come into the equation as I get to a healthier life, healthier weight? And can I maintain that for the long run? So that's the goal. The goal is to be able to, by this year, I wrote down my goal was to drive my GT3 RS in the mountains. I don't know that I'll get to that this year in 2024, but 2025 is certainly my goal. I do have a GT3 RS now, so that's great. I didn't have that at the beginning of setting that goal in 2024. So I'm feeling good about life and hoping to continue to improve.
So if you have any input, I appreciate the feedback. I don't appreciate being told I'm stupid, but having an honest conversation, I take feedback from people. I love that. It really helps me, and then generally I'm able to impart. There's been several dozen people that have gotten me to this point with sharing different information. The other thing I started doing is reverse hyper for my lower back to improve my core fitness. I've also added this year for this this cycle to really focus on toes to bar, GHD, and focus on core performance. And then I think as I get down closer to 200, I'm going to work on some gymnastics movements, like maybe learn how to walk on my hands, do higher volume muscle ups, and then higher volume handstand push-ups, the things that I'm not very good at. I'd like to improve those things, and then also possibly improve my squat this year, because if I can strengthen my core, I haven't been squatting a lot because I feel like my back and core hasn't been up to snuff. So I'm not squatting what I normally would. I squat a lot of body weight stuff, but I would stop at say 300 pounds when I'm capable of squatting quite a bit more. So anyway, thanks for watching. Thanks for your support. As always, stay tuned for more crazy. I know I think about things a little differently than most, but such is life. This is a great life, and I'm learning to enjoy it. I'm learning to be in the journey and not living in the destination. That's helped with the need and the fear and the worry and the angst and the obsession. I don't want to get rid of the obsession in total, because the obsession is what makes me great. But it's equally an opposite to keep me balanced, the thing that makes me terrible. So anyway, thanks for being here. I appreciate you, and I'll see you soon.